my God, it's snowing now. I'm so screwed, you guys. So I have a confession. I have been a lazy gardener. I have not done anything for a couple weeks now. And why is this an issue, you ask? Well, it is a little after 8 a.m. here. We have a weather forecast of 12 to 18 inches of snow starting at 3 p.m. So that gives me a little less than 7 hours to do my entire fall cleanup, winter soil prep for the garden, my final fall harvest. I need to protect all the crops that are going to stay out here for winter with cold frames. I need to winterize my irrigation and probably a whole bunch of other things I can't even think of. And as if to make matters worse, I have not even planted my garlic yet. So I'm gonna try to do all of that in less than 7 hours. Let's get this show started.
Hi guys, I'm April from Race Sprout, where I share garden tips and tutorials from my suburban front yard garden to help you garden like a boss.
First thing I'm gonna start with is bringing inside everything I have scattered around the garden. And heads up, because I always get a lot of questions, I will leave a link in the description to all the items that you see today in my garden. In general, if it contains water, like a rain gauge or a bird bath, or it could contain water, like a wheelbarrow, or if it can rust, you should bring it in or at least flip it over. I made the mistake of forgetting my beloved Hawes watering can outside a few years ago, and the freezing water actually bent the bottom. And I also got to pick up all the garden markers that are still out here. They're galvanized steel, so they're very weatherproof, but I don't want to lose any under the snow. Just a tip, if you have a good marker system like this, where you put the dates and the variety on here, these work awesome for winter seed planting. You can kind of go through here and say, oh yeah, that's right, I like that variety, or oh yeah, that one I started too late, I planted too late, or that one was good timing. See, these are the types of things you lose in the snow. This is the irrigation line pinned, so I gotta be careful with these because they will disappear. Also, make sure to check your pots. Frost-proof pots should be okay as long as the soil is not oversaturated, but the terracotta pots and most unglazed pots will crack and flake in the cold. The broccoli is very healthy actually, and it's past the frost. So I think this broccoli would actually survive for quite a bit more time, except I just don't want to deal with 18 inches of snow on top of this stuff. So I'm gonna harvest it all now. The cool thing that you could see though, if you look down here, I've already harvested the main broccoli head. So these little guys, these are actually side shoots. So I've been picking at these all fall, and so that's actually what I'm going to be getting today. I'm going to be getting a whole bunch of side shoots. I'm going to be getting broccoli leaves. It actually should be quite the harvest, and I should be able to fill up my freezer with tons of broccoli. Broccoli leaves are great and taste very similar to kale. If you're interested in how to harvest broccoli leaves while keeping the plants alive, check out my broccoli leaf harvesting video, which I'll link above. So here's my sad kale bed. I planted this in spring, so it's definitely should be coming out anyway. I actually briefly flirted with the idea of just leaning some old shower doors up against this fence and then protecting them that way, but honestly, there's really not a lot of kale left. It seems kind of silly to like just limp this thing along all winter. I could, but like, it's not worth it. So I'm gonna take the same tack as I did with the broccoli and just clear cut the suckers right at the base. I'm gonna throw them in a bin and deal with processing the leaves off of them later, because I just don't have time to be sitting there and like pulling each little leaf off. I do not have time today. So you can actually see that even though it's been well past freezing for quite a few weeks now, these are totally edible, not frozen. So I've been eating well. It's almost Christmas. The next order of business is getting my winter crops protected with cold frames. And in order to do that, I need to clean these beds out so I can actually fit the cold frames on top. I'm also getting rid of the old road covers. Earlier this fall, I planted some radicchio in my perennial bed because I had actually run out of space in my raised beds. There's no way these guys are gonna survive this snowfall here, so I'm gonna transplant them and hopefully they'll be able to recover under the cold frame. Normally, I would water transplants to settle the soil, but it is actually in the 20s today, and I'm sure it's only gonna get colder, so I don't want the water to freeze. I think I'll come out here tomorrow when it's a little warmer, after there's 18 inches of snow, maybe water them then once they're under the cold frame and warm. So this is the system that I used last year for my cold frames. These are actually raised bed corners that you can buy from Garden Supply. They actually don't market them as cold frame holders or anything. I just saw them and I thought these would work perfectly. The way these work, they hold 2x, so you could stack 3 2x4s in here, 2 2x6s. I think I did successfully do it with 1 2x6 and 1 2x4, and it looks good. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be stacking these on the corner of the beds, and then I have some wood that I have already pre-cut from last year, and I'm going to put the wood in here. The sheer weight of the thing just holds it on there. I never had any problem with collapse or anything. And then I'm gonna put some shower doors on top for short term, you know, when I got 18 inches of snow coming, this is gonna work. This is the spinach bed. I think I planted it in like maybe early October and there was no germination. I would say maybe 20 plants germinated. So I'm gonna still cover it. Maybe the extra warmth will get the extra seeds to germinate, and if they don't, I'll probably do some seed starting indoors and then plant out over the winter, because this is a really winter hardy variety of spinach. This is the spinach that I usually do for winter gardening, and it just is phenomenal. Now, unfortunately, all the shower doors I have are a couple inches too skinny to fit the width of the bed. So my temporary solution was to put boards across the tops to support the glass. Make sure you stick around to the end and I'll show you how these cold frames looked after the snow. It's a little after 1. I'm not gonna lie, I'm losing steam a little bit. It probably didn't help that I just had a big bowl of nice warm pasta and now I just want to go take a nap. The good news is we got hopefully a tiny little bit of a reprieve. I just checked the weather again and said the snow is not going to start until 4 now. So now we got 3 more hours. So one of the other things that you might want to do when you're winterizing your garden is cut back all of the perennials. Right now I just have this echinacea right here, and I have some old peonies, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. To deadhead a perennial, simply cut the plant at the ground level with a pair of pruners or loppers. The main reason people cut back perennials is aesthetics, but if you don't care about that, or if you're just feeling lazy, definitely feel free to leave your perennials up all winter. They make great habitat for overwintering pollinators. And echinacea in particular is a great food source for finches. Also, if you leave the flowers on the plants, echinacea will self-seed and spread all the following year. Another reason I cut back perennials is that leaving dead foliage can harbor disease. That's why I'm cutting back these peonies. They get botrytis blight every year. If you think your perennial might be diseased, make sure not to put the clippings in your compost. One of my favorite tools for making compost is this compost sifter I made to fit my wheelbarrow. Let me know if you guys want me to do a video on how I made that or my compost bin. Today, because I'm a little short on time, I'm going to do the 3 beds most in need of amendment. The broccoli bed we just harvested, I'm just gonna add compost over top of the old leaves since they're going to decompose anyway. You can add finished compost to your soil at any time, but the easiest is during fall or spring tilling. I like to add my layer in the fall. That way I empty out all my compost bins, which helps me make room for fall leaves and winter kitchen scraps. Then in the spring, I lightly fork the soil, aerating it and incorporating the compost then. My fall planted potato bed has not been amended in quite some time, so I'm gonna add some compost there too.
And my strawberry bed also needs some compost love. I'm gonna loosely top dress these and try to shake the compost down to the soil level. We don't want to smother them.
So I have a little bit of compost left, I would say like half a wheelbarrow. So I think that's not enough to do a full bed. So I think I'm just gonna kind of spread it around the base of my perennials over here because I don't think I've amended them in quite some time. So I'm gonna do that. I almost thought I felt rain for a second, or snow. I really hope that isn't the case because I thought I had a couple more hours. You guys, I'm gonna die. Seriously. It's 10 to 3. I'm definitely not done because it's not humanly possible. So the next task is going to be, see this pile right here? I went inside and I kind of got yelled at by the hubs for allowing this pile of wood chips to sit in our driveway for months, and he is the snow shoveler and he is very not enthused about having to shovel 18 inches of snow around the said pile of chips. So the intention is to put it on everything. However, the bed that I am probably most concerned with is my fall planted potatoes. I just put the layer of compost on the fall planted potatoes. I want to put a layer of wood chips, and I think I'll be happy with that. Also, if he asks me if I got rid of some of the wood chips, I can say yes. Although the percentage that I'm going to get rid of is going to be very small, but we won't tell him that.
Spreading mulch in the fall helps conserve moisture, fight soil erosion, prevent frost heaving, and insulates plants and their roots from freezing temperatures. My favorite mulches are wood chips and shredded leaves, since that's what I have free access to.
Okay guys, so this is how I store my irrigation lines. I have this old takeout box, and this is where I put all of those landscape pins that hold down the hose. And also, if you've watched my garden tour, you know that I'm a total nerd, and I actually have numbers and letters for all of my beds, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to keep anything straight. So last year when I put away my irrigation lines, I actually made all of these little labels, like bed A, bed D. So this is gonna help me keep it straight. Normally when I put away the irrigation lines, I coil them all nice and I tie them up and I put the little label on it, but literally it is snowing right now. There is no way I can sit around and play with lines, coiling them up and stuff. So I'm gonna just drag them into the workshop. I'm gonna unhook them. Obviously, I'm gonna try to drain them as much as humanly possible. I'm just gonna try and put these labels like on top of the lines, and hopefully everything won't get messed up. There's a lot of lines. I use the snip and drip system from Garden Supply. So it's a very awesome custom system, but it's also got a lot of pieces, and they're all different lengths, and they're all customized to my bed. So obviously I don't wanna lose track of which one goes to which bed. That would be very bad.
Regular garden hoses can be left outdoors if they're drained, but it's always a good idea to bring them indoors if you can. There's mixed reviews about whether you can leave soaker hoses outside in place over the winter. Although it's a pain in the butt, I ultimately decided to bring mine in every year because number one, the plastic connectors are not necessarily freeze-proof, even if the hoses themselves might be, and that's a big might. Number two, I'll be extending the life of the system by bringing it indoors. And number three, the beds in the ground will be clear of hoses for spring amendments and tilling, which is really gonna help out later.
Don't ever do this. Don't pull up your irrigation lines in the snow. This isn't good. I am here on YouTube as an example for you guys. Don't do this. See that? That's ice. I definitely should have brought these in earlier. I mean, it's not a lot. It's almost all water coming out, but still. Like, this is how you ruin your irrigation equipment.
Let me know if you guys want me to do a setup video on my irrigation system. Although it does take a bit of time to set up and take down, as you've seen, it's definitely a net gain on time savings every year. It's definitely worth it. Hey guys, so there's 3 more things that I would do as part of a winterization. 3 things that I did not get to today, unfortunately. I did leave these 3 things to the end though, because I had a feeling that I wasn't gonna be able to get to everything. So number 1, I would have done a last lawn mow before the snow hit. You're gonna laugh at me, but I pay attention to the vegetable garden and I probably don't mow the lawn as much as I should, and sometimes it gets a little scraggly. But the way that I usually do the fall cleanup in the fall is I let all of the leaves fall on the ground. I do one final lawn mow and that gets the lawn nice and trim. It picks up probably 95% of the leaves in the mulching bag, and then I dump the mulching bag in my compost bin. The second step, which is I come through with a rake and just kind of tidy up, just get all the little bits of leaves that didn't get picked up by the mulching bag. And also, I really was hoping to get the garlic planted today, but at some point in the middle of the day, it occurred to me that the bed that I was hoping to plant the garlic in is that bed that I planted the radicchio in. So that bed has a cold frame cover now. So I don't technically have to plant it before the snow falls on it because the snow is not gonna fall on it. Now, that is not gonna give me an excuse to be lazy. I mean, it is mid-December. I really should have planted the garlic right after the frost. What's the worst that's gonna happen? I'm gonna give it a try. So those are the 3 things that I would definitely try to do before it snows 18 inches. Normally, I do not do my winterization all in one day. I should have taken, the whole month of October and November and early December to do all this like a responsible gardener. But if you're into speed gardening, it is possible, apparently. I hope this video helped you out. If it did, let me know by hitting that like button. And if you have any questions or tips, let me know in the comments. Be sure to subscribe for more garden tips and tutorials. And if you know anybody who would love this video, definitely share it with them. And I would love to stay in touch with you guys, so make sure you sign up for my email newsletter. Keep gardening like a boss, and I'll see you guys soon.